The sun was setting on Earth, a calm evening that would quickly transform into chaos. The quiet buzz of daily life across the planet, children finishing their homework, workers wrapping up their shifts, was shattered when the first alien ships appeared in the sky. Massive, ominous vessels, each one the size of a city, broke through the atmosphere and hovered above major cities. Panic spread like wildfire. Cities were plunged into darkness as governments scrambled to respond, military forces mobilizing, but they were no match for the invaders' technology. The aliens, with their cruel, silver-skinned forms and cold eyes, wasted no time announcing their presence. The world's leaders watched in horror as a holographic projection appeared in the skies, a stern voice booming through every speaker. "This is the Empire of Thorax. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender or face total annihilation." Humanity's first instinct was disbelief. "This can't be happening," whispered President Evelyn Parker as she stood before a room full of advisors. The emergency broadcast was still airing, and the alien ships loomed ominously in the distance. But the aliens did not wait for a response. Their attack was swift and unrelenting. Power grids across the world went offline. Cities were leveled, and millions perished in an instant. The invaders moved with terrifying efficiency, their weapons slicing through buildings and defenses like a hot knife through butter. In New York, the streets were chaos. Screams echoed as citizens ran for cover, but there was nowhere to hide. The sky itself seemed to darken as the alien ships opened fire, their weapons decimating entire blocks. It was impossible for the world to process what was happening. How could this be happening? Humans were supposed to be on top of the food chain. As the first wave of destruction ended, the humans were left stunned. The aliens issued a broadcast, a chilling message. "This is your only warning. Surrender or perish. Resistance is futile." But to the invaders' shock, Earth's response was not one of surrender. In the ashes of destruction, a strange thing happened. People who had lost everything, homes, families, began to fight back. It started small. A ragtag group of civilians in a small town in the Midwest set up barricades and sabotaged the invaders' communication lines. They were outmatched in every way, but they fought with a desperation that caught the aliens off guard. It wasn't much, just a few disorganized acts of defiance, but it was enough to spark something in others. The seeds of resistance were planted. Across the world, humans began to fight, not with the alien technology they didn't understand, but with the most human thing they possessed: raw, stubborn will. Guerrilla warfare tactics spread like wildfire as people organized into resistance groups. Humanity had always been known for one thing: survival. And though the world was reeling from the shock of the invasion, there was something that burned deep within them, a fire that even the aliens didn't see coming, a fire that would soon consume them all. "Do you hear that?" one resistance fighter whispered as they hid in the ruins of an abandoned city. "They underestimated us. And now we make them regret it." The first whispers of humanity's wrath had begun, and the aliens, despite their superior technology and numbers, were about to learn the hard way that they had made the gravest mistake of their existence. The night was pierced by the blinding flashes of laser fire as the alien ships loomed above the remnants of New York City. But below, amidst the chaos, something incredible was happening. The humans, battered and broken, refused to be crushed. From the shattered ruins, a sense of unity began to rise, a silent vow to fight back at all costs. Across the globe, small resistance cells formed almost overnight. A group of school teachers in Europe repurposed abandoned military vehicles for guerrilla tactics. Farmers in Africa set traps to sabotage alien supply chains. Even small towns in the remote corners of the world rose up, using improvised weapons, Molotov cocktails, makeshift rockets, and anything they could find to strike the invaders. It was nothing compared to the power of the alien fleets, but it was enough to show that humans were not as easily cowed as their invaders thought. The aliens' initial response was one of baffled superiority. "This is futile," they sneered. These creatures are insignificant. The Orcs Empire had no intention of allowing such rebellion to spread, but their tactics were overly mechanical, too rigid for the kind of guerrilla warfare the humans were now using. Their forces were spread thin, and despite the advanced technology they possessed, they couldn't match the unpredictability of human resistance. In one particularly bold act, a small band of civilians managed to infiltrate an alien communications hub deep in the heart of the invaders' command center. Using stolen alien equipment, they scrambled the invaders' networks for days. Ships were sent to the wrong coordinates, and reinforcements arrived too late. At first, it seemed like a minor inconvenience, an annoying glitch in the alien fleet's system, but the disruption was enough to make the aliens begin to question the integrity of their hold on Earth. Their once unshakable confidence was beginning to crumble. Then came the next shock. With the knowledge gained from the sabotage, the humans made their first decisive move: an assault on an alien shipyard. The aliens had believed their superior firepower would keep humanity in check, but humans struck where they least expected, through their supply lines. They didn't have the firepower to defeat the invaders directly, but they understood the importance of strategy. A small, well-coordinated human team infiltrated a vital shipyard in the Arctic, using frozen terrain to their advantage. They disabled crucial shipbuilding operations, disrupting alien manufacturing for days. The humans had caused more damage in those few days than anyone thought possible. In retaliation, the Orcs Empire sent a fleet of its most advanced warships to strike back, launching a massive attack on a resistant stronghold in Africa. The assault was brutal, and the humans took heavy losses, but it was here that humanity's raw, unyielding spirit truly revealed itself. The survivors, though broken, refused to flee. They regrouped, not to run, but to fight again. In the aftermath of the battle, a new wave of defiance spread across the world. Every loss was met with a renewed determination. The more the aliens attacked, the more human resistance grew. People began to look at the fight differently. This was no longer about survival. It was about making the invaders feel the wrath of a species they had grievously underestimated. Whispers of hope began to circulate, stories of humans striking back in the most creative and unrelenting ways. In one part of the world, a group of scientists managed to reverse engineer the alien technology they had scavenged, creating weapons that could match the firepower of their invaders. And just when the aliens thought they were winning, humanity showed them something they could never anticipate: a tenacity that couldn't be broken, a drive for vengeance that refused to die. The first battle was lost, but humans had learned something vital. They were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting for their future, for their freedom, and for the right to make their invaders feel the unrelenting wrath of the human spirit. And the aliens were starting to feel the first tremors of fear. The quiet, relentless hum of the alien machines had filled the skies for months. But now, a different kind of sound echoed across Earth, a chorus of human voices rising in defiance. The alien invaders, once confident in their overwhelming superiority, could no longer ignore the growing resistance that was spreading across the globe. Humanity, it seemed, had awakened something far more dangerous than anyone expected: a deep well of primal rage. It wasn't just the tactics or the technology they had learned to use. It was the fury of generations who had fought wars, survived against the odds, and watched their loved ones fall to invaders. The human spirit, underestimated by the invaders, had begun to turn into something far more powerful: wrath. In a small, isolated city in South America, an ancient artifact was discovered deep within a cave, a relic of human history, left behind by a long-lost civilization. The artifact was a manuscript, ancient and worn, containing tales of humanity's dark past. It told of a species forged in blood, of warriors who had fought countless battles across the centuries, not just for survival, but for vengeance. The manuscript spoke of humans' ability to unite, to transform grief into wrath, and to unleash destruction when pushed too far. For the first time, the aliens learned that humanity was not just a species that clung to life. It was a species that could be driven to obliterate everything in its path when in rage. The manuscript's discovery was broadcast across resistance channels, awakening a new understanding. The message was clear. Humanity was more than just a victim. It had the power to be a destroyer, and it had only just begun to tap into it. As word spread, the global resistance began to shift its strategy. The guerrilla tactics they had used so far had kept the invaders at bay, but now they were ready for more. Humans began to fight not just for survival, but for the satisfaction of retribution. Every victory, no matter how small, fed their anger. And as their resolve strengthened, the wrath of Earth began to take shape. In the war-ravaged ruins of a city once called Paris, human forces launched an audacious attack on an alien stronghold that had been established in the heart of Europe. The resistance had learned from their mistakes. This time, they were ready. Armed with weapons derived from the alien technology they had captured, they mounted a surprise assault that would mark a turning point in the war. They struck hard and fast, using the element of surprise and the unrelenting speed of their attack to catch the alien forces off guard. Explosions shook the ground as resistance fighters stormed the alien command center. The human forces, though fewer in number, fought with such fury that the invaders struggled to maintain their footing. When the dust settled, the invaders were forced to retreat. The human victory was hard-won, but it was a symbol of something the aliens could no longer ignore. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were fighting back with a ferocity that could no longer be contained. The alien fleet, once confident in its superiority, began to experience the first signs of fear. Reports from their commanders began to change tone. "We have underestimated them," said one, as reports poured in of human strikes across the planet. "They are not just fighting to live. They are fighting to destroy us." In deep space, high-ranking alien officials convened in a private meeting aboard their flagship. The Thorax Empire had thought themselves invincible, but as they watched humanity rise in defiance, they realized that they had overlooked one crucial factor. Humans were not just fighters. They were creatures of vengeance, and they were willing to risk everything to make the invaders pay for their destruction. The alien council was now divided. Some suggested a full retreat, fearing the unstoppable force of human wrath. Others wanted to crush humanity once and for all, believing that their technological might would eventually prevail. But a creeping unease settled in. The aliens had done the unimaginable. They had awakened a force that was unlike anything they had ever encountered. Humans were no longer seen as weak, fragile creatures. They were seen as something much more dangerous, a species capable of inflicting destruction on a scale that the galaxy had never witnessed. The Thorax Empire had awakened the wrath of Earth, and now they would pay the price for their arrogance. The skies of Earth were ablaze with the fires of war. What had once been a planet of quiet cities and peaceful landscapes was now a battleground where humanity fought back with every ounce of its fury. The alien invaders, who had once believed themselves invincible, were finding themselves pushed to the edge of their ability to respond. The world, though scared and torn apart, was beginning to shift from the desperation of survival to the power of retribution. Humanity had learned from its early defeats, but more importantly, it had learned to harness something far more devastating than alien technology, its own rage. Each battle, each city reclaimed, fueled the fire that now burned in every human's chest. What began as small skirmishes and guerrilla tactics had grown into full-scale operations, each one calculated with precision and executed with unrelenting vengeance. The first major turning point occurred in the ruins of what was once London. A massive alien fortress, central to the invaders' operations, stood proudly at the city's heart, its defenses impenetrable to anything humanity had thrown at it so far. It was said to be an indestructible stronghold, until the humans attacked. Using their newfound understanding of alien technology, they created weapons designed to match the sheer power of the invaders' ships. The assault was swift and brutal. A coordinated strike by resistance groups from around the world converged on the fortress, bringing together Earth's finest minds and most battle-hardened warriors. They fought with an intensity that stunned the aliens, who had underestimated the will of a species pushed to the brink. The battle that followed was catastrophic. For the first time, humans used the weapons they had salvaged from alien wreckage to great effect. A human-made EMP device took out the fortress's energy shield, leaving the alien forces vulnerable. From there, it was a massacre. Explosions rocked the alien base, the ground shaking with the force of each blast. Resistance fighters breached the gates and overwhelmed the alien guards, capturing key commanders and shattering their control of the region. The humans' victory was complete, and the repercussions were immediate. The invaders, once assured of their superiority, now understood that Earth was no longer just a battleground. It had become a place where the wrath of humanity would find them at every turn. With the fall of London's stronghold, human forces launched a series of coordinated attacks across the globe, liberating cities that had once been considered lost causes. The fires of revenge burned across the planet. But it was not just the alien armies that began to falter. The varied fabric of their empire started to unravel. Fear began to spread through the ranks of the alien invaders, whispers of humanity's relentless spirit reaching even the most distant corners of the galaxy. Those who had once looked down on humans as primitive now spoke in hushed tones, acknowledging their undeniable power. In the corridors of the alien command ship, high-ranking officers convened in a rare emergency meeting. The mood was one of tension, uncertainty, and growing panic. The reports were grim. Alien fleets were being ambushed and destroyed, military leaders were being captured or killed, and cities once considered safe had fallen under the wrath of human forces. "We underestimated them," the alien fleet commander said, his voice tight with fear. "Their rage, their unity. It's unlike anything we have ever faced. We must reconsider our plans." But there was no easy solution. The Thorax Empire had tried to force Earth to submit, but the humans refused to bend. And now, with each new victory, the cost of alien control on Earth grew higher. The invaders' once superior fleet now had to contend with a human enemy that had learned from every defeat and adapted with unimaginable speed. While the alien leadership debated their next move, humanity pressed forward. Resistance groups, emboldened by their successes, began to unify into a more organized and formidable fighting force. The tactics shifted from mere survival to outright vengeance. Earth's people had suffered immensely, but they had learned one undeniable truth. When you push humanity to the edge, you awaken a fury that can never be quenched. The war was far from over, but one thing was clear: Earth was no longer a target to be conquered. It had become a place of reckoning, and the invaders would soon learn that they had awakened a force beyond their comprehension, something that could not be beaten by technology alone. The sky now burned with humanity's fury, and the alien invaders were about to find out just how costly their miscalculation had been. The fires of war that had consumed Earth now fueled something more powerful than mere survival: revenge. The once disorganized resistance had transformed into a unified force, a force that moved with terrifying precision and purpose. Cities that were once nothing more than crumbled ruins were now strongholds of defiance. The humans had found their stride, and the invaders could no longer dismiss them as insignificant. Among the chaos, the human resistance discovered a terrifying truth. The alien invaders' hold on Earth was not just military. It was psychological. The Thorax Empire had sought to break humanity's spirit, to crush the will to fight. But in doing so, they had inadvertently forged a new kind of enemy, one driven by the deepest of emotions, the desire for justice and vengeance. Human commanders, who once feared for the future of their species, now stood tall in the face of their enemies. New strategies were devised, not just to survive, but to destroy. Humanity had learned to take the fight to the heart of the alien fleet, targeting their command ships, their power sources, and their most vulnerable points. Each victory emboldened them, making the invaders' grip on Earth slip further and further away. But it was the discovery of the aliens' primary weapon, their extermination protocol, that would change the course of the war. Hidden deep within their fleets was a device capable of wiping out entire cities, of sterilizing the planet's surface if needed. The alien leadership had been using it as a threat, but now, knowing humanity's tenacity, they prepared to use it as a final means to break them. The Orcs Empire was ready to commit the ultimate atrocity, wiping Earth from the galaxy forever. Word of this weapon spread quickly through the human resistance, and for the first time, humanity faced the possibility of utter extinction. But in the face of this existential threat, the response from Earth's leaders was not one of fear. It was one of defiance. The leaders of the world's major resistance groups met in secret, and their resolve was set in stone. If the aliens sought to destroy Earth, they would meet their own destruction first. A new plan was set in motion, one that combined every human asset: military forces, civilians, scientists, and engineers. The target was the heart of the alien fleet, the flagship that controlled the extermination protocol. If they could strike it down, they could cripple the entire alien operation. The plan was risky. It would take all of humanity's resources, but the fire of revenge burned brightly. From across the globe, resistance cells joined forces, readying themselves for the most dangerous mission Earth had ever seen. The operation began in the dead of night, as waves of human fighters launched simultaneous attacks on alien strongholds to divert attention. In the chaos that followed, a team of elite soldiers, scientists, and engineers infiltrated the most heavily guarded alien installation on Earth. Their mission was clear: breach the alien flagship's defenses and destroy the weapon that had been designed to annihilate them. As the team pushed forward through the alien defenses, their hearts burned with fury. They had seen their cities destroyed, their families torn apart, and their loved ones lost. Every step they took was fueled by the belief that they had nothing left to lose, but everything to fight for. And they would not fail. In the final moments before they reached the weapon, one of the resistance fighters turned to his comrades. "This isn't just about us," he said, his voice steady. "It's for every person who's been lost, for every city that's burned. We finish this tonight." With one final push, they breached the control room, where the extermination protocol was housed. The device loomed before them, a towering, terrifying piece of alien technology. But the humans, driven by an unrelenting desire for revenge, did not hesitate. They set the charges, ready to take it all down. The countdown began. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They underestimated the power of humanity's resolve. The weapon was destroyed in a thunderous explosion that reverberated across the sky. In that moment, the fate of Earth had been sealed. The humans had dealt a blow that would change the course of the war forever. The Orcs Empire's most powerful weapon was gone, and the tide of battle had shifted. The aliens had thought they could break humanity's spirit, but instead, they had ignited a force they could never hope to control. Earth's revenge had begun, and the invaders would never be the same again. The phoenix had risen from the ashes, and humanity was ready to show the universe what it truly meant to awaken the wrath of Earth. The explosion that tore through the heart of the alien flagship sent shockwaves across the battlefield. The extermination protocol, the weapon the Orcs Empire had relied on to destroy Earth, was nothing more than smoldering ruins. The ground beneath the alien forces trembled, and for the first time since their invasion began, the invaders felt something they hadn't anticipated: fear. In the aftermath of the explosion, the human resistance poured into their newfound victory. The destruction of the extermination protocol had crippled the alien fleet's ability to wipe out humanity in one fell swoop. The message was clear: humans would not be extinguished by a single blow. They had endured too much, fought too hard, and learned to become something the invaders could never understand: a force of relentless vengeance. Now, the Orcs Empire was facing the full fury of humanity's counterattack. The loss of their most powerful weapon had sent ripples of panic throughout their ranks. No longer was Earth simply a conquered world. They were now the hunted. The human resistance, emboldened by their victory, had taken the fight to the stars. Across the globe, resistance fighters targeted alien strongholds, systematically dismantling their supply chains and command centers. The Thorax Empire's fleet, once an unstoppable force, began to fracture. Alien warships that had once roamed the skies with arrogance were now scattered, desperate to regroup and find a way to regain control. But they had made a fatal error. They had underestimated the human will to fight. In the heart of the alien war room, the mood was grim. High-ranking commanders, who had once held supreme confidence, now found themselves scrambling to formulate a plan. Their invincible fleet was faltering, and their hold on Earth was slipping away with every passing day. How could we have been so blind? One of the commanders muttered, staring at the maps of Earth's territories that were now lit with the burning remnants of their forces. Their retaliation is unlike anything we've encountered. They don't fight like any species we've ever encountered. Another officer, his eyes wide with panic, replied, "We've never faced an enemy like this before. They aren't just fighting to survive. They're fighting to erase us. And they're winning." The alien leadership convened in an emergency summit, trying to find a way to salvage their conquest. But the reality was setting in. The Thorax Empire had underestimated the resilience of humanity. Every victory they had taken for granted now came with the cost of their own power. The humans were relentless, and they were evolving faster than the invaders could comprehend. Meanwhile, on Earth, the resistance forces pushed forward with unyielding determination. What had once been a fractured group of survivors was now a cohesive, powerful fighting force. Military units, once scattered and disorganized, were now strategically coordinated. Earth's most brilliant minds, many of whom had once been sidelined by the invasion, were now at the forefront, developing new technologies and weapons to match the invaders at every turn. The momentum had shifted irreversibly. No longer were humans the underdogs. They were the ones who controlled the battlefield, and the invaders were on the retreat. Across continents, from the forests of Asia to the deserts of Africa, human forces were taking back their world. Cities were being reclaimed, and alien fortifications were crumbling to dust. The once mighty alien fleet was now a shadow of its former self. Commanders were being captured or destroyed, and their forces began to fracture. Desertion rates among the invaders rose dramatically as more and more soldiers realized they were fighting a losing battle. The alien soldiers, who had once believed they would crush humanity without hesitation, now saw the truth. They were facing an enemy they could not break. As the last of the alien strongholds fell, the human forces turned their eyes to the stars. The fight had started on Earth, but it was clear that the Thorax Empire would not escape unscathed. The victory on Earth was a declaration. Humanity would not just defend their home. They would hunt down every trace of the invaders, bringing the full weight of their wrath to the far reaches of the galaxy. "Earth is ours," President Evelyn Parker declared in her triumphant speech to the world. "And now, we will ensure that no force in the universe ever dares to threaten us again." Humanity's wrath had not only saved their planet, it had become a force so powerful that the galaxy would soon know the price of underestimating Earth. The Thorax Empire had crumbled, and the universe had just learned a new truth. When humanity rises, nothing can stand in their way. The fall of the Thorax Empire's grip on Earth was just the beginning. With their enemy's most powerful weapon destroyed, humanity had not just won a battle, they had set the stage for a war that would span across the stars. The burning desire for revenge, once a flickering flame, now roared like an inferno, consuming everything in its path. In the aftermath of their victory on Earth, the human resistance had reorganized into a full-fledged military force. They were no longer scattered, desperate survivors. They were a united army, driven by a single, undeniable purpose: to hunt down every trace of the alien invaders and make them pay for the devastation they had caused. The first phase of humanity's retaliation was the construction of their own fleet. Using both salvaged alien technology and their own ingenuity, Earth's best engineers and scientists crafted warships capable of challenging the remnants of the Torcs Empire. These ships, built with the knowledge humans had gained from their enemies, were not just powerful, they were unpredictable. Unlike the rigid and mechanical strategies the aliens relied on, humanity fought with creativity, cunning, and raw emotion. And that made them a terrifying adversary. With each ship launched, with each mission undertaken, humanity sent a clear message to the galaxy. Earth would not be content with mere survival. They would erase the Torcs Empire from the stars, one system at a time. The first target was the alien homeworld, Toreth, a distant planet in a far-off galaxy. It was heavily fortified, a sprawling metropolis of alien architecture surrounded by military bases and defense fleets. The alien leaders, hiding in the depths of their world, believed they were safe, their empire impervious to any further human reprisal. But they were wrong. The human fleet, led by General Marcus Steele, one of the most revered military minds on Earth, set their sights on Toreth with unyielding determination. The mission was clear: destroy the heart of the Empire and send a message that no corner of the galaxy was safe from humanity's wrath. The humans were not simply seeking to defeat their enemies, they were seeking to obliterate every trace of the Torcs Empire's existence. General Steele addressed his troops before the operation began, his voice steady, yet filled with the fire of vengeance. This is not just a mission. This is the reckoning of Earth. The destruction of Toreth will be the first step in making sure no other species ever dares to invade our world again. They thought they could break us. They thought they could wipe us out. Tonight, we show them the power of a species that has been pushed to the edge and survived. We are not done. We will never be done until we have taken everything from them. The human fleet arrived at Toreth with brutal efficiency. The first wave was a surprise attack, overwhelming the alien defense systems before they even had time to react. The invaders tried to rally, but the humans had anticipated every move. Alien warships were destroyed with precision, their defenses overwhelmed by the power of humanity's counteroffensive. The human fleet surged forward like a tidal wave, unstoppable and relentless. As the battle for Toreth raged on, the alien leaders gathered in their war rooms, watching in disbelief as their forces crumbled. The horror of the humans' vengeance was becoming apparent. No force, no weapon, and no strategy could stop the fury they had unleashed. For the first time, the aliens felt the crushing weight of their arrogance. They had underestimated humanity at every turn, and now they were paying the price. General Steele led the final assault on the Torcs Command Center, the heart of the alien government. As his forces stormed the capital, he felt the deep satisfaction of seeing their enemies crumble before them. It was not just a victory, it was a statement. The Torcs Empire would never rise again. And the message echoed across the galaxy. Earth had reclaimed its place in the universe, and no one would ever dare threaten them again. Back on Earth, the people watched as the news of the victory spread. The fall of Toreth marked a new chapter in human history, a chapter where Earth was not just a survivor, but a conqueror. The invaders had come, they had fought, and they had fallen. The wrath of humanity was far from over. With Toreth's destruction, the remnants of the Torcs Empire scattered. Some tried to regroup, while others fled into the distant reaches of the galaxy. But they knew one undeniable truth now. Earth would follow them to the ends of the universe if necessary. The wrath of humanity had no boundaries, no limits, and as the smoke cleared from the ruins of Toreth, the galaxy had learned that there was no force more dangerous than the will of a species fueled by vengeance. The humans had not just won a war, they had begun the destruction of an empire. And the universe would never forget the price they had paid. The galaxy trembled in the aftermath of the Torcs Empire's collapse. The invaders, once feared as an unstoppable force, had been scattered to the winds. Earth, once a vulnerable target, had become the most powerful force in the universe. Humanity had taken the wrath of their oppressors and turned it into a force of nature. The universe now knew what it meant to face the fury of Earth. But while the humans celebrated their victory, a new reality began to settle in. The galaxy was a vast and unpredictable place, and the downfall of the Toraks Empire had created a vacuum that others would soon seek to fill. Earth's victory had been hard-won, but the war was far from over. Humanity had won the right to stand tall, but now, it was time to ensure they held that position. General Marcus Steele, now revered as one of humanity's greatest heroes, stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Vengeance, overlooking the stars. The ship was a symbol of humanity's might, its sleek, powerful form gleaming with the technology the humans had taken from the Toraks Empire, but now enhanced with their own innovations. A symbol of strength, it was also a reminder of the price humanity had paid to reclaim their world. "We've defeated the Toraks Empire," Steele said, his voice firm and resolute. "But we can't afford to rest. The galaxy is watching us now, and we need to decide what kind of future we want." On Earth, the leaders of the resistance, now the leaders of a global government, gathered to chart their next course of action. The immediate goal was clear: rebuild, protect, and prepare. But beyond that, humanity knew it had to secure its place among the stars. The question was no longer whether humanity could survive. It was whether they could thrive in the face of all the challenges that awaited them in the vast reaches of space. No longer would Earth be a quiet, unassuming planet. Humanity had tasted victory, and their thirst for vengeance had evolved into something more. A desire to ensure their survival, to protect their home, and to carve a place for themselves in the galaxy that would be beyond the reach of anyone who dared to invade. With their new fleet, humanity began sending emissaries to the remnants of the Toraks Empire's former allies. Some of these alien factions were skeptical, others outright hostile, but Earth's presence in the galaxy was undeniable. Wherever they went, humanity's message was clear: we will never again be a victim. The galaxy will either accept us as equals, or we will make them regret it. The first human diplomatic mission to a neighboring star system was a tense affair. Representatives of various alien species, who had once been subjugated by the Toraks Empire, gathered to meet Earth's leaders. At first, the discussions were cautious, even fearful, but as the humans demonstrated their technological prowess and their willingness to defend themselves, the tone shifted. The once feared invaders of Earth were now seen as a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy's perception of humanity began to change. While some factions sought to form alliances with Earth, others remained distrustful, wary of humanity's power. The universe, it seemed, was not ready to fully accept Earth's place among the stars. But that only fueled humanity's determination. They had risen from the ashes of their oppression, and no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them head-on, just as they had done when the Toraks Empire first descended upon their world. Back on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. The scars of the war were still visible, but the resilience of humanity shone through. Cities were rebuilt, and the wounded were cared for. The world had come together in a way that was once thought impossible. But now, with their place in the galaxy secured, humanity faced a new era, one where they would no longer be defined by their past, but by their future. As the Vengeance soared through the stars, humanity's leaders stood together, gazing at the vast unknown. They had endured the darkest of times and emerged victorious. The wrath of Earth had been unleashed, and now they would chart a course for the future, one where humanity's fire could burn brightly, lighting the way for generations to come. The galaxy was vast, and there were still many unknowns on the horizon. But Earth had learned one fundamental truth: when humanity's wrath is awakened, nothing can stand in their way. The universe had learned that lesson the hard way, and now, as they ventured into the stars, humanity would forge a future that would forever be theirs to command. The dawn of a new era had begun.